This is the Puerto Rico COVID-19 Variant Surveillance Initiative, which is an initiative raised by the Puerto Rico Science, Technology and Research Trust and also the Puerto Rico Public Health Trust. The laboratory capacity that we have raised in this initiative is unique in Puerto Rico and the Caribbean. On a daily basis, samples coming from reference labs are processed in here and stored in a biorepository. After viral RNA isolation, the samples are taken to two different processes that work tandemly. One of them is droplet digital PCR, in where we determine mutations of interest. With this process, we can tell the Puerto Rico Department of Health quicker than the process of sequencing which variants are preliminary in those samples. This process is very important not only because it's unique, but also because we can tell them quicker the variants that are contained within those samples, so they can start the process of contact tracing, epidemiology, and the process of saving lives. Then at the same time, the samples are already in the sequencing part. With the sequencing, we determine which of the variants are within those samples. Then after we finish this process, we send that information to the Puerto Rico Department of Health so they can establish the proportions of variants that we have circulating in Puerto Rico. The data produced in this laboratory helps the Puerto Rico Department of Health establishing the genomic surveillance initiatives on their end. Genomic surveillance is very important for each jurisdiction because it tells you not only the kinds of variants that you have in Puerto Rico, but also it tells you very important and key information that helps shaping the way that we manage this pandemic. For example, one of the key things is that it tells us how the virus is changing over time in our population. Second, it tells us if any new variants might be affecting the medical treatment that we are using currently to manage the pandemic. So the data that we produce from Puerto Rico is very important, not only because we are able to track the variants that we produce in here, but also it tells us key information from our population that is going to be very important in order to manage the pandemic and save lives.